He's always. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Well, it is a gorgeous day here in the Rocky Mountain State. It's cold. Still got the Carhartts out. What the heck is up with that? I mean, seriously. So I hope you're doing well, and wherever you are, may favor grace you. May it find you to be a companion, and that it abide in your house the rest of the days of your life. And I always like this. I'll tell something here in a little bit, but flowing prosperity with full restoration, nothing missing, nothing broken in your lives. Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. We get into the document, and you're going to see there's a 40-day, but I'll get into it. So hello, everyone. Hello, all you wonderful moderators. Hello, Franny. Hello, Warrior Queen. Hello, Merritt. Good to see you, my dear. Richard, how are you, my friend? Ellen, hello. Peace be to you. Night Cat, what's up? Barry and Dreamosaurus. I like that. That's cool. Legend Real. I love that as well. That's so cool. Monday Moon. Boy, it's coming through there. Some of y'all are really good. Hey, Sherry. How you doing, my love? Good to see you. And David, how are you, my friend, across the pond? And Nina, the Mystic, how are you, my dear? Think Agape Love. Yeah. Peace on that. Morgan, good to see you as well. Valerie, there's a song about you. Sovereign, Jessica, there's a song about you too by the Allman Brothers. Ira, good to see you. Consciously Aware, hello, Josh, how are you, my friend? Sue, G, how are you, my dear? I haven't seen you in so long. So good to have your energy here. It's just, what a blessing. Thanks. Boy, who else is in here? Well, there's a lot of people, huh? Pat, good to see you. 7P, how are you doing? Wow, far out. So I got a question. This is a strange one. I mean, we're all here for the experience, right? Have you ever thought about this question? How many orgasms have you experienced in your life thus far? Have you ever counted them? Can you remember them? Anyway, how about that one? Like, what the heck are you talking about? How many orgasms do we have? Well, think about it. I mean, if life is about the experience, those are one of the more pleasurable ones. But anyway, I digress. Hey, Roger, how you doing? Good to see you. And Ricardo, hello. Horace, good to see you. And Melanie, good. Hello, JH. Blazing River, how are you? Lost count. Robert, good to see you. Saw one of your kinfolks last night. So I had a delightful time with Jeff Doherty and Cynthia, and there was another couple there, and yet another gentleman. There was a lot of people there. We had a good time last night, good fellowship, a lot of laughter, and got to tell you, it's something that Jeff and I will be coming up on in August, 2 years doing the Not Your Normal Sunday show, formerly known as the Not Your Normal Sunday Morning Show, but we stopped morning a while ago. So anyway, and it was just a delight to meet Jeff. He is a delightful gentleman. Cynthia is just, I just said, my wife and I, we had a wonderful time. Took up nearly 3 hours at the restaurant, but hey, it was a good time. And just wishing everyone who's traveling back home from LeakCon, safe journeys. If you're getting out of Denver, hope you're already getting out. It is some interesting weather. I could say winter weather, but we're quickly coming up on 2/3 of the way into spring. And so Jeff sending good thoughts out to you and Cynthia as y'all head back. Looks like it get a little bumpy out there in Kansas because we're not in Kansas anymore. Literally, we're not. So, yeah, blazing rivers, snow. That's what they're saying. I think we're going to have it all away. I heard over the weekend that here in Colorado, we have 14,000 feet peaks. And there are people who climb the 14ers. For the first time in a long time, they're saying that in many of the high peaks, the snow is not going to go away. You know, I think A Basin is going to be staying open probably till July. Skiing, can you imagine that? Maybe you're living in... Now that is cool, Josh. That is cool. I'll read it. So those of you who can't see it, he says, maybe you're living in hell, Wayne, and it's finally frozen over. Now, see, you got to have a sense of humor, folks. If you can't laugh, and if you don't have joy in your life at least once a day, it's time for an exam. Got a great book in, by the way, over the weekend. And, you know, this book here was, again, much like the Liber Lilith, they thought it was absolutely destroyed. They thought that the King James Court and subsequently, you know, the Vatican as well, thought that, and, you know, I'm convinced, as Jeff and I were talking yesterday in our show, the Vatican's got 33 miles of documents. They probably got every freaking book that's ever been written. Maybe that's where Constantinople's library went to, and Alexandria as well. Anyway, I digress. This is the Discovery of Witchcraft. Now, discovery is Old English, as you can see here. Now, the thing about this book, so I get it, and I'm looking at this, and I'm going, well, how the hell do you read this? I mean, seriously, folks, give you an idea of the print. I mean, I'm getting it to you really close so, you know, you can see. It's got everything about spells, incantation, and so the print is so small. I had to go out and get literally a magnifying glass, you know, so I can, you know, take a look at it. Anyway, but it's I'll let you know, it's one of those interesting books. So tiny print, no doubt. Yes, Jeannie, it's the thing that I said, you know, they should give you the large print edition. I mean, come on. What's the deal? Hey, folks, have you checked this out? Just some real quickies of what's going on in our reality. And just got a letter from Source. I'll get into it. So this is thehill.com. This is probably one of the biggest disclosures. If Secure Team doesn't do a story on this, I'll be surprised. Tracia, this is one that, well, let's just look what it says. Since 2015, dozens of Navy F-18 fighter jets have encountered unidentified aerial phenomena. No longer UFOs, but they're UAPs. Once commonly referred to as UFOs off the east coast of the United States, some not far from the nation's capital. Encounters have been reported by other military aircraft and civilian airliners elsewhere in the U.S. and abroad too, including videos shot by airline passengers. What these UAPs were and who was flying them, whether friends, foes, or unknown forces, remain a mystery. Yet careful examination of the data inevitably leads to one possible disturbing conclusion. A potential adversary of the United States has mastered technology we do not yet understand to achieve capabilities we cannot yet match. Folks, you've been wanting disclosure. The Hill is, it's one of the more conservative news outlets, and been following him for years. This, I kind of just shook my head going, well, everyone's been wanting disclosure. This is about, I think, if there's a prelude, this is it. It goes on to say that it is long past time for Congress to discover the answers to those questions and to share at least some of the conclusions with the public. I don't know. I mean, if this is what the UFO community has been howling about, folks, I think this is about as good as it's going to get until things begin to obviously being changed. I often say, if Congress would take care of the people's business instead of the lunacy that they're doing, this is the stuff we need to be focusing in on. It goes on to say, the U.S. government came to a large step closer to confirming the reality of UAPs when the U.S. Navy acknowledged in late April that there have been a number of reports of unauthorized and or unidentified aircraft entering various military-controlled ranges and designated airspaces in recent years. And it goes on, check it out. This is, I don't know, is it about to get really real? Maybe. Wall Street Journal. How smartphones sabotage your brain's ability to focus. This, again, remember, we're baking a cake here. So consider that we're taking out the cake now and we're putting layers on it, right? We're going to make a 6-layer cake. All right, so keep this in mind. I've been warning those of you who have been following me for years, you know, it's in the archives. Documented it. Said that this was coming. Check this out. Wired.com. Inside Facebook's new robotics lab where AI and machine friend one another. This is getting freaky weird, you know? Yeah, don't tell me that AI isn't looking for spirituality. Think about that one real quick. Facebook research is developing touchy-feely, curious robots. This one is in Engadget. This is a weird stuff that they're looking at. We were discussing this last night at dinner with Jeff and the party. The fact that we have now machines, companies like Facebook, Google, and there's a couple of other, Elon Musk is in his company, where they have stated they have now the machines that can do the machine-human mind interface. This is, take your own opinion on it, but this is some pretty weird stuff that's going on. All right, let's continue with this. This is endoftheamericandream.com. 5G danger. Hundreds of respected scientists sound the alarm about health effects as 5G networks go up nationwide. Folks, I don't know. Maybe it's just this thing I've been doing in the reading, and as many have been looking at this, anticipating this. It's like a dampening field. I just got this sense that we're evolving physiologically, dare I say intellectually, and if you want to call the spirituality of it, at a pace that if we were doing and on the evolution of man and consciousness, and who knows how the graft would go, but I would definitely say the upward trend is that many more people are becoming awake, however you want to term it. And we're not just, the fringe conspiracy theorist. Lastly, I thought this one's so cool. So the Redskins, guess what they're using now to help heal the body, particularly with athletes who, football is a very rough and tumble sport. So they talk about sunglasses that shield you from the infrared lights that give oxygen to your body cells, right? They talk about the different manufacturers. We're going in, we had to postpone our appointment, but we're going in on the sensory chambers. New form of potential healing. Yeah, I think if the NFL is covering it, and it tells me that they're really into something. Things are changing, folks. We were talking last night. So follow me on this. I talked with Patrick, got an email. He's going to be carrying out Angie's final wishes here next week. And he said the silence is deafening, and I know exactly what that feeling is. So, Patrick, we love you, and we send our strongest energy to you. You're not alone. None of you are alone. So, think about this. What if, just if, there is, in fact, what we now know as black holes? We know they exist. We know they're very numerous. I wonder, as the effects, as you get closer, and closer here is light years. No, it's not talking like, well, are we there yet? No. We're talking, tens of thousands of light years. I mean, distance. But I'm talking about in the near neighborhood, within, let's say, a light year. I think we would be feeling the effects. And I contend that if gravity can come in waves, why can't time? And since our brains are electrical, everything is electrical in the universe, I don't know. Would we be feeling a distortion effect? Middle Earth. I believe that Middle Earth did exist at one time. And if it did exist, and if this is the time of man, that indicates that there is a beginning and an end. Could it be that we're in the transition? How would we know? We don't know where we came from. We don't know our minute of our inception. We don't even know who the hell was responsible for all this. But in any case, I digress. It's a black hole, just a shadow of a star. Who knows? I mean, it very well could be, something's going on. No doubt about it. All right. So we're talking about a 30-day challenge. Now, I put together a little something for us as we get into our letter from source, because again, the synchronicity is off of the scale. So we're going to be dealing with the pathway, the map to prosperity. We're going to get into that. If you haven't gotten it, get it. We have wonderful people. The young lady, and I say young lady, that provided this to us. I'm not even sure if she's still here, but she shared this with me months ago. It just wasn't the right time. Now is that time. So here's the thing. The 30-day challenge is that, and I want to make sure I got this. Yeah, let's go here. So prosperity is a noun. It means a successful, flourishing, or thriving condition. May I ask you, are you successful? Are you flourishing? Are you thriving in any of these conditions? Now, it's especially because of the world and the matrix that we live in, the construct, it's defined regrettably, so often in the West as financially. But that's only a sliver. It also means good fortune. Would you rather have, what would you rather have? A momentary financial bonanza or constantly good fortune? I'd rather have good fortune. Actually, I'd like to have them all. Prosperities, plurality, prosperous circumstances. Friday, we talked about these circumstances. This one here, instead of being in the one that you're in right now, imagine it evolving into a prosperous circumstance characterized by financial success and or good fortune. So let's get some synonyms on this thing. Wealth, success, accomplishment. Isn't that what we're all striving to do when we leave this death realm and enter into the life realm coming in? That we can come back and look on the accomplishments that we've done? Riches, expansion, benefit, growth, well-being, boom! Interest, welfare, inflation. Interesting that it's in the connotation of positive. Abundance, due, good, fortune, advantage, ease, arrival, increase. So what we're going to do, we're going to read this again, and this is the challenge. This is how it works. So you'll date and sign it, like I've done mine, right there, as you can see. You must read it at least twice a day. More is better. Immediately upon waking, and the last thing before sleep. Now, I'm going to share with you the experiences I've been having the last couple of nights, and it's weird. I have chosen a phrase following Franz's instructions. We're going to be reading from Franz's book, and consciously disciplining my conscious mind as it's making the transition over into the sleep realm of a saying. And it's strange. It's almost like you can sense that there is a reconstruction, a restructuring. I could say matter, I guess that would be a word. I continue, keep notes, make copies, and put it on the fridge, mirror, bathroom, wherever you're going to spend a lot of time, and make a point to lead at least one of the affirmations. Or if you're really serious about it and you start wanting to memorize it, start speaking all of them. So at the end of 30 days, we'll discuss the progress, because each day that I am on live, we're going to read this. So no matter how you look at it, you'll be reading it 3 times a day if you do it in the morning and the evening before you go to sleep. And then if you watch the show, there you go. We'll see where we are in 30 days. I'll ask people to tell me, those who are diligent. No side steps on this one. This one really has to be done like a scientific experiment. Let's see those who participate, if your circumstances are not prosperous, better. I think that that's extremely important. I really do, across the board. So I think this is going to be, I like change. I don't like people that are broke. Even the ones that give us the thumbs down, we love them. Then you got to ask yourself why someone would be against an individual prospering. Well, we know why. We all saw the comment earlier from, we got to love them. You just pat them on the head and say, bless your little hearts, it's going to be all right. So I don't like people being without. And one of the things I have learned is that if it's given as just free, some people become addicted to that. They'll never progress beyond that, never taking control of being able, instead of being the receiver, be the giver. And that's the way I always like it. I always love giving. It was funny last night when the check came due. Great group of people. And this is how you really know people's energy. You know, there was this rush as to who was going to pick the check up. That's pretty cool. That tells me a lot. You know, it's the little things, folks. It's the little things. So let's get prosperous. Let's get serious about this. All right. So I told you we had a letter from Source. Those of you, I know that many of you have asked me for this. I send out the letters, get them out to you just as soon as I get them. So thank you, Josh. All right, here we go. Beautiful children, how are you today? Today, we wanted to share with you something that not too many of you have ever thought of, something that is going to make you view things in an entirely different way. You all know the saying, as above, so below, and as below, so above. You use it all the time, but you do not truly comprehend what is really meant by this. And to be honest with you, you never will until the end. However, we're going to try and convey to you a little bit more about this. We give you a bit of this explanation a little while back when we asked you to picture yourself on the earth spinning around in spirals. Today, we are going to take this a bit further. We want you to really think about this. Okay. You see yourself walking around in a physical 3D world that is around you. You notice everything around you, but there is one thing that you can never actually do. You can never actually look at your full self. You can look at yourself in a mirror and see what you perceive yourself to look like, because that's what people tell you that you look like. But, or question is that really you? We will get back to this question in another message. Right now, we want you to focus on you walking around your 3D reality. If you are physically seeing yourself walking around in this world, are you not walking around in this world in your mind? Picture a tiny you within your mind doing exactly what you are doing. This is your thought process in the moment that you are currently in. Now, with each moment within your mind, you are presented with infinite decisions and calculations that you must make. You just do not realize it. You only realize the decision and calculation that you actually choose. However, within your mind, you are making and living out all of these decisions at the same time and living them in different realities. Is this making any sense? Source, you must have been at the dinner conversation last night. This is eerie. You see, let's just stop here. You got to comment on this. Source is right. We are marvelous spiritual energies. This morning in my time of meditating, it became very clear to me, does a spirit have to eat? Does a spirit need to consume energy in order to self-sustain its energy? Here, Source is telling us we are living probably an incalculable number of instant realities. And last night, as we were discussing, everything you and I do is actually not the moment, it's actually the past. Our mind has already seen it done. It's just our bodies in this realm and this reality, we are carrying it out. I continue. You see, every decision you make in your current reality was because it was the best result for what you are trying to achieve in your current reality. But in an instant, you calculated all the possible outcomes before you made the decision you made. For example, if you walk up to a street and see a car speeding down the road, you are presented with an infinite number of truths. Each one is played out in your brain in an instant. In this current reality, you decide to stop. In another, you may choose to walk out and attempt to end that current reality. In yet another, you may try to run across before the car gets there. These are all realities that are playing out at the exact same time, just in another plane of existence. You see, every one of you is telepathic and knows the outcome to every situation there is out there. It is just impossible for you to be able to realize in this current reality. In computer terms, your hard drive would fill up and you would cease to function. We feel the need to caution some of you here. You know who you are. Be careful with this knowledge. This is how you can change timelines. Yeah, that's a dramatic pause. However, you need to tread lightly here. If you choose in this reality to turn left and in another timeline to turn right, there will be a collision. And as in all collisions, there will be some kind of inverse reaction, Newton's law. This is where your free will comes in and why, when one thing goes wrong, multiple things seem to go wrong for you all at the same time. One of your realities decided to veer off course and collided into your reality, or you veered off course, causing an outcome that you did not expect. Have you ever seen something happen before it did, and you were ready for it to happen? This is why. You had already seen it and warned yourself that it was coming. It is just a matter of being in the right vibration at the right time. Hopefully, this is making some sense to you. Joshua is having a hard time putting it into words. I can imagine, my friend. These are deep, deep truths. You are far more powerful than you could ever imagine. However, all of your senses contained these powers and don't let them show. As humans, this is very hard to comprehend. All your senses are what you allow to perceive what you think is reality. If you take them all away, you are no longer human and you are no longer trapped. As a human, it's impossible to remove yourself from all sensation. There will always be something because you will always feel the substance around you or see the light that you create within, no matter how dark. There's a story there. If you try and remove all your senses, the one that is the least obstructed will work harder to overcome the lack of the others that are hindered the most. You will always hear your heart beating and always hear your thoughts unless they are no more. This is why you will never know your true power until it is time to move past your current reality. Remember, learn everything that you can here on this planet about as much as you can. Your whole purpose in your current reality is to learn about your shadow that you call life. Life is truly the light that has cast that shadow. Now, the shadow that you call life. In order to know the light, you must first know the dark. For if there is no light, then dark is all there is. And in order to get out of the dark, a spark must be lit. This should show a new meaning to you for your Bible verse, let there be light. This is enough for today, my children. We love you, Source. Well, there you go. There's a lot to this. Those of you who are afraid of the dark, you have to understand there will never be a darkness that will ever consume you. I don't know, maybe if you allowed it. That's one possibility. All right, so let's get on to what we're going to be talking about here. Read this to you on Friday. By the end of 30 days, we'll see. I mean, I don't know about you, but I hate being broke. I hate being poor. Sucks. The universe is not limited. The earth is not limited. Do you know, virtually for except what we've put out in satellites and what have you in space, all the gold is still here? All the diamonds? None of it's left. All right. If you got your notebook with Franz, this can be another section. So write in your notebook on the first day and sign it. I did mine. And you just follow the instructions. This day, the date, I, put your name, fill it in there, cease believing in visible money as my supply and my support. And I view the world of effect as it truly is, simply as an outpicturing of my former beliefs. I believed in the power of money. Therefore, I surrendered my God-given power and authority to an objectified belief. I believed in the possibility of lack, thus causing a separation in consciousness from the source of my supply. Source is capital. I believe in mortal man and carnal conditions, and through this faith gave man and conditions power over me. I believed in the mortal illusion created by the collective consciousness of error thoughts. And in doing so, I have limited the unlimited. No more. This day I renounce my so-called humanhood and claim my divine inheritance as a being of God. This day I acknowledge God and only God as my substance, my supply, my source, and my support. Then you use an affirmation a day and repeat three additional times for a 40 days for a total of it. I say let's do 30 and then see where you want to go. Takes 21 days thereabout to lay down a new synaptic pathway to make a habit. So let's just see. Memorize and meditate upon each affirmation twice a day. Make notes of any thoughts that come to you. Put it right there on your refrigerator. 1, God is lavish. Now, God can be whatever it is. For me, God is the infinite being. It's thought. It's not a personification. It's thought. And I know one thing about thought. Thought attracts like. All right. God is lavish, unfailing abundance, the rich, omnipresent substance of the universe. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me, the reality of me. 2, I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence, I am, is the source and the substance of all my good. I am conscious of the inner presence as my lavish abundance. I am conscious of the constant activity of the mind of infinite prosperity. Therefore, my mind is filled with the light of truth. Wow. That one alone I know it resonates with many of you. Number 3 again, I am conscious of the inner presence as my lavish abundance. That takes some time to really get that firmly established within your heart. I am conscious of the constant activity of the mind, that's capital M, of infinite prosperity, both capitalized. Those are nouns, personalities. Therefore, my mind is filled with the light of truth. Both nouns in this case. Number 4, through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I bring into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is, capital, my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. Think about this. If you believe in God, as I came out of Christianity, there should have been no person that should have ever been broke, no one that should have been sick, no one that should have been destituted, but the vast majority are. Why? Because it's a boomerang spell. And it tells you one way that, hey, everyone should be rich, but on the other hand, it's telling you, well, very few get there. Number 5, money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My understanding and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Yeah, it's going to take many of us quite a while. I don't know if initially 3 times a day would be enough. Number 6, my inner supply instantly and constantly takes on form and experience based on my needs and desires. That's transmutation, folks. That's exactly what that is, as we have been reading. As the principle of supply in action, it is impossible for me to have any needs or unfulfilled desires. Number 7, the divine consciousness, this is a noun, that I am is forever expressing its true nature of abundance. Well, I just had a picture. Wow, that was far out. That was freaking far out. Okay, let's continue. This is its responsibility, not mine. My only responsibility is to remain aware of this truth. Therefore, I am totally confident in letting go and letting God appear as the abundant all-sufficiency in my life and in my affairs. Number 8, my consciousness of the Spirit within me as my unlimited source is the divine power to restore the years the locusts have eaten. It makes all things new and places me on the high road to abundant prosperity. This awareness, understanding, and knowledge of spirit appears as every visible form and experience I could possibly desire. Wow. Woo! Number 9. When I am aware of the God self within me as my total fulfillment, I am fulfilled. I am now aware of the truth. I have found the secret of life, the knowledge that the activity of divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creativity, which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am now in the flow. I keep my mind, number 10, I keep my mind and my thoughts off this world, parentheses on both sides, and I place my entire focus on the divine presence within as the only cause of my prosperity. I acknowledge the inner presence as the only activity in my financial affairs, as the substance of all things. I place my faith in the principle of abundance in action within me. Now, folks, this will change your complete course in life. I had a saying I'm saying now at night, and it's amazing. It's wow. When you think about favor, consider it, like you could call it the FF, the flow of favor. The flow of favor could be health. The flow of favor could be wisdom, making the right decision so there's no negative consequence. The flow of favor can be financially. You literally could say at night, I am immersed in the favor of the financial flow, using it always as present tense. Don't always say that I'm going to be one day. No, it's always present tense. And if you start saying your little mantra of what you want, your subconscious, you'll find that if the first couple of nights, you won't get much sleep. You have weird dreams. But as you learn to do this, and then you find yourself waking up, and I always go back to the book of Psalms where, David said that that's what would always meet him when he went to sleep and he woke up. And if you got that, write it down in your pad. Sometimes you can only write down one word, an image. So there you go. I hope that helped everyone there. Cool. I think it may have. Listen, I always marvel at what's inside people's heads. We know with a couple of them. All right, so let's get on to our next journey on this one. Franz, we got some things to cover. So let's get to this. I want to start out with the astral plane. The astral plane, often designated as the fourth dimension, has not been created out of the four elements, but it is a densely degree of the Acacia principle. Consequently, of all that up to now, the material world, occurred, is actually occurring and will occur, and has its origin regulation, and existence. As said before, acacia in its most subtle form is the ether, well known to all of us, in which, amongst other vibrations, electric as well as magnetic ones are propagating. Isn't it odd that Franz knew about the magnetic rhythms? Remember, magic is just another word for science. Anyway, consequently, this vibration sphere is the origin of light, sound, color, rhythm, and life in all things created. As acacia is the origin of all existing things, all that ever was produced, is being produced, and will be produced in the future is reflected in it. Therefore, in the astral plane, there is to be seen an emanation of the eternal, having neither a beginning nor an end, as it is timeless and spaceless. The adept who sees his way about this plane may find everything here, no matter if the point in question be in the past, the present, or the future. How far this perception will reach depends on the degrees of his perfection. Occultists and spiritualists and most of religious name the astral plane the world beyond. However, the adept knows very well that there is no such thing as hence and beyond, and feels no fear of death, which concept is quite strange to him. If, by the disintegrating work of the elements or a sudden breakup, the astral matrix, which is connecting matter between the grossly material body and the astral body, has got loose, this will happen, what we commonly call death, which, however, in reality is nothing else but a passage from the terrestrial world to the astral world. Backed up by this law, the adept knows no fear of death, being convinced that he will not approach uncertainty. Through his control of the elements, besides many other things, he can also achieve a slackening of the astral matrix, which will result a spontaneous separation from the astral body from the mortal plane. That's how it's done. That's how you can pick your time of departure. Or if you master it, where you can come in and out. I hear that after a while, the pull becomes so great that this world no longer has its desire or lust. This is the positive explanation of so many tales in which saints have been seen at the time in different places and even have been working there. Dun, 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 dun. The astral plane has various kinds of inhabitants. First of all, there are the deceased ones who, having left the earth, are abiding in the corresponding density degree according to their spiritual maturity, which is designated by various religions as heaven or hell. The adepts seeing only symbols therein. The nobler, pure, and more perfect an entity happens to be, all the pure and finer will be the density degree of the inhabited astral plane. And so, in other words, if you think you're going to see hell, guess what? That's why you've got to learn the discipline now. Flush it out. Understand who you are. You're a powerful God creature. And that's why it takes so many sometimes thousands of years to get out of it. It's just the way it is. Little by little, the astral body is dissolving until it has become suitable to the degree of vibrations of the receptive step of the astral level, or identical with it. As you see, this identification depends on the maturity and the spiritual perfection the entity concerned achieved on this earth. Besides, the astral plane is inhabited by many other beings, of which I am mentioning only some species here. There are two so-called elementaries, entities with one or only very few qualities, according to the dominant vibration of the elements. They are living on the similar vibrations proper to man and transmitted by man in the astral plane. Among them, there are some which have already reached a certain degree of intelligence, and some magicians are using these low-powered beings for their selfish purposes. Another kind of being is the larvae, which have been brought into life consciously or unconsciously by intense sensorial thinking through the astral matrix. They are not real beings, but only forms thriving on the passions of the animal world, on the lowest step of the astral level. Their instinct of self-preservation carries them into the sphere of those men whose passions are responsive to them. They will try, directly or indirectly, to raise and kindle the passions slumbering in man. If these forms are succeeding in seducing men to give in to their suitable passions, they are feeding and thriving on the emanation of this passion produced in man. Man laden with many passions will attract a host of such larvae in the lowest sphere of his astral plane. A great flight takes place, and in the problem of magic, this fact plays an important role. More about it is to be found in the chapter dealing with introspection. There are also other elementaries and larvae which can be produced in the artificial magic way. As to further details, see the practical part of this book. That's why it's necessary for you to go through the list. You'll find out who's feeding on you. Another kind of being the adept often has to deal with in the astral plane must not be overlooked, namely the beings of the four pure elements. In the element of fire, their name is salamander. We read this before. In the air element, they are the sylphs. In the water elements, they are called the mermaids or the undines. And in the element of earth, they are called gnomes or goblins. These beings represent, as it were, the connection between the astral plane and the earthly elements. How to establish connection with these beings, how to control them, what can be achieved with their help, all will be reserved in the practical part of the present book, to which I shall dedicate a special chapter, Magic of the Elements. Furthermore, there is a host of other beings, such as satyrs, wood maidens, water goblins, etc., who could be specified. Even if all this sounds like a fairy tale, on the astral plane, the previously described beings are the very same realities as all the other earthly beings. The adept clairvoyant eyes can see them all, if he desires so, and is able to establish the connection with them, so excluding any doubt of the existence of these beings right from the beginning. This is why the adept has to first and learn to examine before being able to judge. We're going to pick up on the spirit part tomorrow. This is why you need the book, folks. This is deep stuff. This is the stuff that I've been out there. That's all I can tell you. I've been out there. The first time I was out there, I met them. There was the only, I cannot give you the physical form, but you, in the spirit realm, the form isn't so much as a matter of substance of material as it is energy. And these energy forces challenged me. There was a point where I actually had the invitation to go with them and advance or stay back. I obviously made the decision to stay back. And when you make those decisions, I haven't had a second chance at it. You can still go out there, and there's many, many energy forces. They're all around us. But in the astral plane, the next plane over, it's really what life is, folks. You'll see that this earth is, it's anomalous to the existence of matter. It's big, but anyway. So hope that's helped. I love this one today. This one is cool. Take me up on the challenge. Let's see how many things change in your life. Let's think about the words that you speak. They're anointed. They're endowed with power. The very power that is in you. And let's see what we can generate within 30 days. Going so well, maybe we'll just do it 40 or more. All right, folks. Thank you, Suji. It is powerful stuff. I'm telling you. Get Franz's book. I'm not going in it in a succinct, categorized manner. We're jumping where it all ties together. And you can see that Franz's book is very much tied to Agrippa's book. This is the stuff, I'll say it. You will be a champion in the next realm. You literally will. As you're going through the turnstile, they're going to go, you go all the way ahead of the line over here. Anyway. All right, folks. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's send Patrick our thoughts and all the rest of you who are dealing with health issues. We just send love and warmth and healing to you. If you'll start learning this, you can start doing wonderful things to your body. Marvelous things, baby. I'm telling you, marvelous. All right. Be good. All my love to you. We'll see you again tomorrow. I believe we're going to have Trina on tomorrow. So that should be really groovy. All right. We'll see you later, folks. Bye-bye.